So while we're on the topic of formatting type, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about formatting the body copy. So this article that I have here has been threaded together, multiple text frames going from page 1, continuing on to page 2, and then flowing on to page 3. I have plenty of room to play around with some formatting here, um, but I'd like to talk about this part right here of my entire body copy for this article. This one paragraph here is a really, really important opportunity visually to control the hierarchy within the content of this layout. And because we're just talking about a single paragraph or some sort of introduction to this article, I want to make sure people are beginning to read in the correct location. But I'm also, as a designer, kind of eager to get this layout to look a lot more finished or refined or professional by thinking about how I can treat paragraph 1 differently than how I intend to treat all the rest of the paragraphs. Keeping in mind, if I make a change to paragraph 1 in this regard, then I'm probably going to look for opportunities throughout the rest of my newsletter to apply this same visual theme or similarities or sizes or techniques to all the paragraph 1s for stories within my newsletter for the sake of consistency. So I do kind of have to think about, is this something that I can apply in a similar way to other parts of my newsletter? But I do want to be special. I do want to be creative. I do want to get people reading this article starting with this paragraph 1. So I'm going to treat paragraph 1 differently. Paragraph 1, by the way, does not get indented. You're going to argue a lot with editors in your future careers about the rationale behind that. But keep in mind that indenting is done to indicate new paragraphs have begun, right? We don't need to know a new paragraph has begun in paragraph 1 because it's the very first paragraph. So we're not going to indent paragraph 1. Instead, we're going to treat it special, treat it differently. So I'm going to show you a couple of techniques on how you could do that. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Helvetica. I don't want it to be regular, maybe light, maybe gigantic. Maybe I also play around with the lettering in that regard and kind of air it out a little bit. I want to do something different or special with this first paragraph. However, I don't want to be so expressive or so creative with it that my reader gets frustrated with reading it. So keep that in mind. You still want this to be readable. That is the primary function of all body copy, including paragraph 1. So we're not going to format it in a typeface that's hard to read. We're not going to make it a size that's difficult to read. You remember when I planned this out, I also planned out paragraph 1 to be or to span across multiple columns instead of being forced to fit in the same narrow columns as the rest. So I made it larger. If I want to, I can make it larger, compress the text. And I want to show you in your paragraph controls at the top of your screen, this here is where you add drop caps if you want a drop cap added. So right here, I'm going to hover so you can see how many lines I want a drop cap to go down. This is 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines. That's a little too big, right? That D is not that important. So I'm going to go ahead and constrain this D to 3 lines. By the way, you can also drop down multiple characters if you like, but I'm going to keep it to just that one single character, the D. If I want to, I can also play around with typefaces used for, not the whole paragraph, just this one letter. I'm going to change the typeface here. If I want, I can also change the fill and stroke of this letter. Feeling like this letter maybe is too big now, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's too thick. Maybe it's because I'm using a Bauhaus that's just too big. So maybe try bold instead. So there, that's better.